Say hey, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquett. Alongside me, as he is every Monday, is my guy, Spin Doc Sports. Doc, how's everything going up in the Great White North?
It is going well. It's going well. Thanks for having me on. As always, I was just telling you before we went on that it's not warm enough to golf for everybody, but it's warm enough to golf here. So got my third round in yesterday, did better than the second. That's all you can ask for. And while it might look like I'm headed to a golf course afterwards, this is more just wishful thinking on my part. I am not today. Tomorrow is golf day, as are the next probably 4 or 5. So
yeah, I should go out. I need to go out. I haven't played in a little bit now, so baseball season keeps me busy. But I definitely should go out sometime soon. Go ahead.
Yeah, I learned that like with my K props, it's oh man, it's interesting. Well, it's interesting when I go out and I'm in the middle of a round and I have one going and it's getting down to the sweat. I probably shouldn't do that. I should probably just turn it off or just disable, like turn my phone on airplane mode or something like that, because it definitely affects your game. So gambling and golf are fun to do together. Golfing while you have gambling action going sometimes can mess with your head.
Yeah. I was gambling on the football, and this is when I first started golfing, and this was the week that the Jets let up that punt return against the Patriots to lose the game. And I, of course, had the Jets, and I wanted them to win because they could have made the playoffs. And I just started screaming on the course, and I had people just looking at me like I was crazy. And I was like, you guys wouldn't understand. I was fairly certain I was golfing in a Jets jersey as well, too.
Yep.
All right, let's get into this card because we've got a couple of good spots here, I think. I definitely want to talk about the teams coming off of the Mexico series game. And it's going to be a fun one, like I've mentioned on Twitter, new month. So I'm going to clear my mind. Let's bounce back from a shit month last month, and let's get right into it, Doc. We've got Nationals versus the Cubs here, first game on the docket. And for some reason, everything seems to be pointing to the under of this game, but I like the over. Doc, I understand Mackenzie Gore is a good pitcher, has been a good pitcher this year. His last time out against the Mets, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, and a 4-1 victory for the Nationals against the Mets. But I just think the Cubs can get to him here. And the Cubs against lefties, 135 weighted runs created plus. That's 5th in the last 2 weeks. And, our shout out to our guy Travis Todd here saying, can the Cubs finally win a damn game? They got swept at the Miami Marlins. Not something that you would see. I'm looking at the results. They were all 1-run losses too, of course. 4-3, 7-6, 3-2. I think they can get right here, get the bats going against the Nationals. So I guess I lean towards the Cubs sidewise, but officially I'm on the over 8.5 plus 100 there, Doc. What do you think?
Yeah, from a pitching standpoint, you mentioned how dominant Gore was last time against the Mets. I was unfortunately on his strikeout under that day, so that for sure didn't work out. But the guy was the central piece in the Juan Soto trade. Obviously, the only thing that could, or the thing to me that could push this one over, would be the walks. Gore is 12th percentile for walk rating for the season, 14.4% for the year, and then 18.2% lifetime at home. Those are obviously very, very inflated numbers. The Cubs against left-handed pitching over the last 15 days, walking 9.5%, not the highest, not the lowest. Behind the plate, you have an umpire who might help you a little bit with Todd Tichenor. He is a pretty accurate umpire. Walk rating is slightly above normal. So if you do get walks, then it has the potential to turn into runs. On the other side for this one, while the Nationals obviously are not going anywhere from a postseason standpoint, they're obviously in rebuild mode after trading both Bell and Soto last year. The one thing they haven't done this year is they haven't struck out. Smiley against the Cubs has an 18.2% strikeout percentage lifetime, 17.3% for the Nationals in their last 15 days against left-handed pitching. And you also have Smiley on the road, 12.5% strikeout rating. That is just icky. So if he's not going to strike guys out, then you're going to play to contact, put more balls in the field, which could play to the over. Officially, I have no play on this one. If you're looking at strikeout props for Gore, the only thing you can look at is the over. It just, against a team like the Cubs, they're only striking out 21.9% against lefties, but Gore has a 90th percentile whiff rating. When that curveball is on, it is just filthy. It's just disgusting. And then for Smiley right now, I think is at 4.5. It's heavily juiced to the under at minus 145. I'm not going to pay that, even though they've been really good at making contact. I'm not paying that for a strikeout prop against the Nats.
Yeah, no, I understand. I wrote down initially over 9 on this game, so I saw the 8.5, and I decided to pull the trigger there. Wind blowing out as well in Nationals Park. A little chilly, but wind blowing out, so hopefully we can take advantage of that as well. So there, I'm on the over there. No place for Doc. Let's go to game 2. Cleveland Guardians versus the Yankees here. Man, I've been looking at this game for a while here, and I want to take the Guardians, obviously. You know, everyone knows me. I'm a Yankees hater, et cetera, against Domingo Germán. 6 innings, 5 hits, 6 earned runs against your Minnesota Twins last time out, Doc. But honestly, I think he can pitch well here. I think he can pitch well against a Cleveland Guardians offense. As you know, he's just not clicking, hasn't been firing on all cylinders like it was at one point this season. So I'm definitely leaning towards a first 5 under, maybe a full game under, or Cleveland money line here, Doc. I haven't made anything official on this game, but I definitely was looking towards the unders here, Doc. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I got one more start where this joke can have some run, is if they're going to make Germán wash his hands. It happened against the Twins. I'm still salty about it. I'll let it go after this, though. So with these two guys, yeah, Germán has not been very effective against the Guardians. Only a 18% strikeout rating, and has just been very, very up and down. Cal Quantrill in that postseason series last year against the Yankees, I thought was respectable. He didn't go out and just destroy them. He wasn't lights out, but he was respectable. And with the Yankees, I actually forget. Judge is not in tonight, correct? No.
I don't think so. I'm going to double check right now, but my cap on it, I'm going to refresh Roto-World real quick as I say this.
Yeah, I didn't think he was in.
He's not.
Yeah, and I think I'm looking at the lineups.
Yeah, and Roto-World firm lineups. Yeah, he's got still at his hip thing. So
no, he is not. So, the Yankees offense without him has looked very, very up and down. Especially in that series in Texas. So for me, if I'm leaning anywhere here, just because they are at home, I probably would lead the Yankees on this one, but this is not one that I'm actively looking to bet on. I'm not also actively looking to play either strikeout prop for this one. Germán at a 5.5, but the under is just juiced to hell at minus 170. Last year it was like, oh, okay, well, Guardians under. Not so much this year. They have been striking out specifically against right-handed pitchers. Now, Germán has not had much success against them. But this is not the Guardians team that is an absolute auto fade or auto under. They are 4th in contact over the last 15 days. However, the one thing that they are doing, though, is they are swinging a lot outside of the zone. They're actually sub 20 for this year, whereas last year they were top 10. They're sub 20 for the season, 27th over the last 15 days. Where that's important is that a pitcher like Germán has 92nd percentile, 93rd chase and whiff ratings and gets guys to go fishing after those breaking pitches. Now, like I said, normally you would say, oh, well, the Guardians will lay off of them, so it could lead to more walks. walks, et cetera, et cetera. They haven't been doing that this year. They, like I said, I mentioned their swing rating, and they're only in the middle of the pack, towards the bottom of the middle of the pack in contact on those pitches. You do have behind the plate for this one. You do have a umpire who is fairly neutral with Blazer. His overall accuracy is pretty good, but the one thing that he doesn't do is he doesn't issue a lot of walks. MLB average for umpires is about 8.5%, and Blazer's at about 7.9, so it does not issue a ton of walks. So it remains to be seen about what kind of swing approach that the Guardians will employ this year, but they are not an auto under like they were last year. So off both props off the game.
Interesting. And Domingo has faced the Yankees, or he has faced the Guardians this year so far once. 3 innings, 5 walks that day. And Aaron Boone saw enough after those 5 walks in those 3 innings. So maybe they do lay off today. I'll be interested to see it. But I think I'm going to move on the full game under. Full game under 8.5 here. I'm going to check the line real quick. It's probably minus 110. Actually at minus 120, unfortunately. So maybe I'll look at Bet Online real quick as well. Yeah, under minus 120 as well. So at least I guess the books or whatever don't want us betting the under there at 8.5. But I just am moving on that. I'm going to be excited to watch this game, I guess, now, because Guardians Yankees is a mini rivalry in the sense that the Guardians always want to beat the Yankees, and the Yankees don't give a fuck because why? But yeah, so I like that game. It's going to be fun. Let's talk about the Red Sox versus their boogeyman, the Toronto Blue Jays here. As a Red Sox fan, I have PTSD for the Blue Jays. They just hit the ball so well against all the Red Sox pitchers. It's pretty sickening. It is pretty sickening. I cannot stand playing the Blue Jays because it feels like every time they play us, it's just a hammering, a shellacking. So I'm going to move on the over in this game. I am going to bring up Corey Kluber's numbers against the Blue Jays real quick because I did forget that he was in the division last year. But I will mention he's coming off his best start of the season so far, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run. This is one of those prove it to me again moments for Mr. Corey Kluber here because I don't trust it. Career, by the way, he is 2-5 with a 5 ERA. Last year, 0-1 in 1 start, 3 innings, 5 earned runs there. In 21, 0-1 with a 4.6 ERA, 4 starts, 15 2/3, 20 hits, 9 runs, 8 of them earned. So it's tough. On the other side, I've obviously got Jose Barrios, who I have no respect for in any sense, especially on the road. He's pitched really well in his last couple of starts, and I'll shout him out there. 7 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs at home for the White Sox. Pitching okay, good. I should say, I'll give him his credit. He pitched good against the Astros. 7 innings, 2 hits, or 3 hits, 2 earned runs. Astros lineup's not as good as we used to be, but still a good start. And then he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run against the Tampa Bay Rays. So that's a respectable start. I don't think he's going to keep it up, though, especially on the road. I think the Red Sox offense has been firing on all cylinders. The numbers also back up the eye test. 4th, 126 weighted runs created plus in the last 2 weeks. 5th full season, 113. The Blue Jays, like I mentioned, it doesn't matter if they're cold or not. They always fucking smash the Red Sox pitching, and they just they sweep the Marlins. I can't remember now what
I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, they're coming off a hot series as well. So give me the over 10. I don't usually like taking over 10s there. I should say this. I've been back and forth on first 5 over or full game over because I do respect and I like the Red Sox bullpen this year. I think it's quality. And I obviously don't think the Blue Jays bullpen's anything to write home about, but I am mostly thinking that these runs come off these starters. So I've been back and forth, I guess. So let me know in the chat what you guys think. First 5 over 5.5 or full game over 10. What do you guys think? Doc, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I do have a play on this game to give out, and it's actually not on the first 5. It's actually on the first 3 innings. And so if you can't get it, you can look at the first 5 for this one. But I am looking, and I'm going to go with the Blue Jays -0.5 for the first 3 innings at plus 115. Barrios, velocity been back for the most part from last year. Same thing with spin and Corey Kluber. It's just, man, that guy can be tough to watch pitching. So no offense to you, Jose, with your squad, but the Blue Jays also have scored in the first 3 innings in 4 of their last 5 games. They have also been ahead, I believe, in every single one of those. So no real take on the game. I don't mind at all your overlook, especially if there's going to be runs early and often. But you can get Blue Jays -0.5 in the first 3 innings at +115 right now. So I will make that my first official play.
Beautiful. Shout out to you there, Doc. First 3 innings.
First 3, not 5, 3. If your book doesn't have first 3, you can take a slightly lesser stake on the first 5 because I think that's juiced.
Yeah, first 5 -0.5 on my books, -110. So
yeah, you can probably play that for the same amount. I personally like going with the first 3 for the plus money and the fact, like I said, 4 out of the last 5 games, and I believe over the last couple of weeks they're scoring in the first 3 innings well over 60% of the time.
Fair enough. I am looking at the chat real quick. I forgot I asked them which one I should go with first 5 full game. RBD 420 is going with both. Real Deal Prime likes the Jays today. He likes Barrios to come back and be good. Andrew G saying big bets on the Red Sox today. Very interesting. I mean, again, I think Jose Barrios is trash, and I would never want to back him at a -160 or any kind of a favorite price. So that's just me personally. So Rand saying Fenway Park overs with bad pitching, nice. And Rick J said rather take a Jays team total versus full game over. Yeah, it was 5.5 for me. That's why I looked it. And oh goodness, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this game goes. I guess I'll go with full game over 10. Give myself the maximum amount of innings there. But I do trust these bullpens, like I've mentioned. But the Blue Jays lineup is just really good, so we'll see. So full game over 10 -105 for me.
I like it.
Beautiful. All right, let's move on now. I cannot wait for this next game here. I'm very interested to see how all these games shake out, and particularly 2, one of them being this one because the Giants are just coming back from Mexico City, and I would like to see them hit the baseball now that they're not in that 4,000 foot elevation or whatever it is, 7,000 foot elevation. We talked about this a couple days ago. We said this is probably going to be a play for us. It's very similar to the bats when you leave Coors Field the next day. Your bats kind of just disappear for the day. You know, maybe the ball looks different because the spin, et cetera, et cetera. I think it'll be one of those cases here today. Unfortunately, -1 was -140. I didn't want a team total or anything like that. So I had to take, or I have to take, I guess I should say, Astros -1.5 +105. I have not taken a run line all year. I've only taken -1s, but this is one that I felt like I had to take just because of the aforementioned, leaving Mexico and the altitude and coming back. And it's pretty crazy that they didn't get a day after either. They just straight into it, leave Mexico. And I understand Mexico to Houston, not an easy flight, or not a hard flight, I should say. But I just think at the end of the day, I think these Astros pitchers can hold down the Giants bats, and then I'm just relying on the hitters to get to Ross Stripling here. And Ross Stripling and their bullpen's not anything that I'm particularly worried about. Obviously, the Astros lineup has not been that great. Their 20th full season and last 2 weeks, 85 weighted runs created plus. So it was just an easy pass not an easy pass for me, but it was an easy, just like, I'm not going to bet side total. It's just going to take the Astros here, hope for the best, and really hoping that the Astros lineup can come through here for me. But we'll see how it goes. Doc, what do you have to say for this?
Yeah, I mean, great points about the elevation. I had the same thing on my notes. It's interesting that so many teams that didn't have to do that and play a neutral site game are off today, but the Giants are not. So when I look at this one, my initial thoughts went to the first 5 run line for Houston, but -0.5 is -140. Nope, not paying that. The other thing too here is, and for those of you that listen to Sharpie's show, you probably heard him talk about it, about Garcia's K prop here. So last 2 years he has had 33 starts and has had 7 Ks only 36% of the time. So the vast majority of these starts, and it's really not that big of a difference, a variance between home and road. Sometimes you get guys that just cut through batters at home and kind of struggle here on the road. Garcia has been pretty much the same, about 2-1 for the under. Now we get a 6.5, and I believe this is partial. I believe this is partially the Giants tax. The Giants are one of the highest strikeout teams in the major leagues. Their strikeout percentage against left-handed pitchers is just absolutely absurd. It's actually laughable. It's like almost 35%. They are 26.8% in the last 15 days, 321 plate appearances against right-handed pitchers. They also have a very, very high, when you don't want a high number in this one, a very high variance between strikeout and walk percentage. That means that you're striking on a ton, you're not getting on base. They have a 19% difference with only a 7.8 walk percentage, worst of any team on the board today. To give you an example of another team who does it pretty well, is that the Guardians, for example, strike out 19% of the time and walk 7.3 for a difference of 11.7. So you don't want a high number. It's like golf. You want a low score. Now, that said, my lean here would be Garcia on the over for strikeouts, but I'm not putting a single dollar behind it. The line seems just a little too trappy for me. Not only is it an over 6.5, it's also an over 6.5 juiced. And so that one just doesn't strike me well. I can never, ever in this point in the season play an under strikeout prop or the Giants on the road. That's just not playable. So it's either over or nothing. I am personally choosing nothing in this game. Ross Stripling, he's been an average pitcher. He doesn't strike anybody out, but he's been okay. He's been all right. I'm actually interested to see too the final lineup makeup. I think that they have it now. They actually do. So the reason why I say that is there's only two actually only left-handed bats in the lineup. Stripling strikes out right-handed batters 21.7% of the time, only 15.4 for lefties. Only 2 lefties in the lineup tonight. So I think if you're leaning on this one, if you're looking at this one, you can potentially look at an Astros run line for the game. Like I said, I wanted first 5, but it was too juiced. The other part with this is that I'm especially coming back from elevation and kind of the whirlwind trip that they have. Stripling is a guy who can go out and who can throw a lot of innings. He can pitch to contact, and he can eat up innings. So you might see that happen tonight, which is a reason why I don't like his strikeout prop, because the under 3.5 is at -125. He's only hit the over on this 36% of the time in the last 2 years in 36 starts. The issue I have is that if he's going to go out there and pitch to contact and get a bunch of innings, you can get a couple strikeouts here and there just by happenstance. So I would need a 4.5 at a reasonable juice level to play the under for Stripling here. No play for me.
Interesting. And RVD 420. If you get the 9.5 in your book, I definitely would bet the under.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I would. I have 8.5. So shout out to you if you got that. Rick J is asking, how long will Stripling pitch? I think he goes at least 3, and if he's rolling, he can go more. Obviously,
yeah. It's very possible that he can go a little longer. Like his average pitches this year is only like 75 or 76 in starts. It is possible that they let him go into the 80s tonight. But like I said, at the very least, just pitches to a lot of contact so he can extend his start and limit the impact on the bullpen because they don't have a day off. But when you're doing that, just by doing that at a 3.5, pitchers can just strike out guys just by random happenstance. For example, got 2 strikes, team's got a runner on first. the batter swings no matter what because it's a hit and run and gets a strikeout there because the pitch is out of the zone. Stuff like that can just happen over the course of a game, which is one reason why I try not saying we always succeed, but we try not to play 3.5 strikeout lines. Too many things can happen. There's just such little room for error on both sides.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on that full game run line -1.5. If it was cheaper, I would be on the first 5 too. But I'm on just full game -1.5 for Houston, minus or +110 there. No, +105. Excuse me. Rem, I'm sorry for misspeaking. I'm on one today, I guess. Let's move on to our next game. Let's go Reds Padres here, and the very same situation here. This time with a big dog, and Blake Snell, a guy that I've not wanted to back him at one time this season. Doc, would you be surprised if I told you that the Padres have not won a game when Blake Snell pitches?
Not in the least. He's a favorite to bet on in our VIP or as we call him, TBSE, or the Blake Snell experience, because whether you're fading him or you're on him or you have any money associated with a game that he's in, you're going to have a sweat. So yeah, it doesn't make a difference. I remember the one time when I sent out a play on Blake Snell, and one of my VIP guys goes, "Oh boy, strap in." And I said, you know what? If we were on the other side, you'd be saying the exact same thing. You'd literally say the same thing, because that is the kind of pitcher that he is.
No, I agree with you. I've bet against him many times, and he always seems to just have like a good start, and then at some point, just bam, a truck hits him, and then he gets crushed. But I'm going to be interested to see how the Padres bats do. You know, they were shit before the Mexico game. They have a great game, and then I mean, obviously, we saw the game last night. It was an under game. It was fucking, what was the score, like 5-4? I forget what the score was now, but it was the most under game of all time. Shout out to our capping of it as well. Yesterday, we capped it beautifully with Connor Mack. But honestly, I just think the Padres again here. This is just another spot where I don't think the bats recover well from the altitude. This is a longer flight, obviously, to back home to. Well, I guess not. You know, I don't know fucking geography, whatever. But it's another flight back home off the altitude. I think the Reds can get them here, so I took Reds full game money line +190, +185, and I think I might take them first 5 as well. I don't love doubling up on the Reds. It's never something I recommend to my friends. I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna double up on the Reds and make money, yeah. Especially against the Padres. Imagine saying that in the offseason. But yeah, it's just one of those. I think it's a good spot for the Reds here again, and the Blake Snell experience. Not one I want to jump on. So I'll keep fading.
I do have a play for this game, and it's funny because the chat's been talking about it. This is going to be my public play for the night. VIP already has this one, but I'll give it out publicly now. And on the other side of the Blake Snell experience has been the Luke Weaver experience, and it's been pretty damn good. At 4.5 strikeouts at -120. And actually, I've even seen it up to -130. Give me the over here as my official strikeout prop for the night. Padres have been striking out at a 25.6% clip over the last 15 days against right-handed pitchers. They now have the come back to the U.S. after being in elevation. The other part here is that for the season, Weaver has a 96th percentile whiff rating, and he doesn't do it by having a blazing fastball. His four-seamer only gets up in the mid-90s. I mean, he can crank it up to 95, 96, but in today's world, that's kind of like mid. The thing that he does have, though, is he does have a very nice changeup and change of pace stuff, and he's got a very nice curveball, which can be the Padres' Achilles. With a 96 percentile whiff rating, I then combine that with, over the last 15 days, the Padres rank 17th in swinging strike rate at 11.1%. It's actually their high water mark for the year and exceeds most of what they had for the last 2 seasons. So you factor those 2 things into play. You also factor in that over the same time period, they're a 22nd with a 28.9% CSW rating. What that means is that CSW stands for called strikes plus whiffs. So it takes the number of times you whiffed plus the number of called strikes you have. Since they're only 17th in swinging strike, that means that they are taking a lot of pitches. They're taking a lot of pitches. And Weaver has actually gotten ahead of hitters over his last few starts. So it might look goofy. It might look wonky because you see, like, well, he's had 8 the last 2 games. Why are we only getting a 4.5? The reason why you're getting that is because he's only started a handful of games this year. And those lines don't tend to adjust until after a 3rd start. Now, he goes out there and he strikes out 7 tonight, which 6 is the number that my absolute bottom line Ks for him. Right now, I have just a tad over 6, so I think it's either 6 or 7, depending on what things happen during the game. The other factor here is that Weaver is projected for and is averaging about 25 batters faced per start. So you do the math on that. You don't need a very high strikeout percentage to get to this total. And when you have a team coming in from the elevation, factor in the swinging strike rate, the whiff rate, all of those things. For me, this is one where I would feel really comfortable about it if I knew that the Padres were going to put at least 5 right-handed bats in, because Weaver Ks them at 37.5% compared to 25.9% for lefties. That's still more than enough. Even if they have 3 to 4 right-handed batters, that's enough for me to make Luke Weaver over 4.5 strikeouts as my tout K prop for the day.
There you go. Beautiful. Shout out to you there. Doc, shout out to Rocco Rogers, who's asking about it and is on it. So I'm going to be excited to watch this game. And again, this is just altitude plays here. I think the ball is just going to look a lot different. It's going to be cutting more probably than what they've seen the last couple of days. So I will be very interested to see that happen. And I'm on a first 5 full games, Cincinnati Reds. It's going to be a sweaty game. And I've had, we've said many times, or I've said many times, I had a shit month so far, or shit year so far, bad month. Hopefully some plays like this can turn it around, because that'd be really nice right now. Let's talk about our last game here, Phillies-Dodgers here. A little marquee matchup before the marquee matchup, because obviously we heard Bryce Harper coming back tomorrow, and every Philadelphian is freaking out about that. So I'll be interested to see how all that situates itself. But we've got Tony Gonsolin on the bump here. And going back since last year, I've not been a Tony Gonsolin guy. I was skeptical. I faded him at many points. I lost a bunch of money, obviously, doing it because he was phenomenal last year. So I can't really back him. I can't back him here. I'd much rather fade him, and especially because his last start was 3 1/3, and he had, correct me if I'm wrong, 1 rehab start in the minors. So I think they're gonna keep building him up and up. So what do we get? 5 innings of Gonsolin this time? Okay, so I would much rather take the Phillies full game money line here. And when Gonsolin comes out, I'll hopefully pick on a Dodgers bullpen that it is going to get better, but just has not been that great this year so far. And I'll actually pull up the bullpen rankings I've got here, because I have the ERA and all that stuff. And I've just did a collective bullpen stuff plus rating to see how they're doing. They are 103rd pitching plus, so it's a little just 3% above average there. And right now they've got a 4.76 ERA, which would be, that is really low. That is the 26th best bullpen when it comes to ERA. So call me crazy. I'd rather take the Phillies here, but I pass on this game.
All right. For me, Tony Gonsolin, it was only his first start of the season last time. I have learned that Dave Roberts can do really, really weird shit with starting pitchers. So I try not to back the Dodgers starters for over or under K props, because he'll let the guy go 110 and then pull him at 72. It's a really, really hard manager to predict when it comes to K props. When it comes to Philly, the only thing that I would really take a look at here, I don't mind Taijuan Walker's K prop. With the 4.5. The problem that I have is that I think that there's a possibility where he could get touched up a little bit, and does he last that long? So my play for this one is going to be, and I wouldn't put a bag on it. I wouldn't go crazy on this one. This is probably just it's gonna be a half unit at least. I might go all the way with this one. First 5 over 4.5 minus 122. I don't like the juice either. So what I might do is just put a 1 unit bet on it. So just 1 unit total, and then just take a reduced payout, which just real quick, going back, I saw that some people were noting in the chat that Weaver was getting a little juicy at this point. You can do the same thing with that, is that you can play it, and then you can just play 1 total unit of stake without the juice, and then that way you mitigate yourself. Now you don't get as much if it wins, but you also protect yourself a little bit risk-wise.
Fair enough. There you go. Shout out to Doc. Good advice there when betting player props, specifically K props as well.
Sorry. I see does anybody like Snell's K's over? Blake Snell is going to have to show me something that he can keep command for 5 straight innings before you get me to even think about trusting his K prop for over. The man has a 49.5% first strike percentage, which among major league starters is one of, if not the worst. I think when you factor in his innings that he's pitched in it is the worst ratio in all of baseball. You also have a Reds team that, they've had some games where they've struck out. They are very, very good at they have been at not swinging at pitches outside the strike zone, which Blake Snell throws ample amounts of pitches. The other thing that he does, and this is not something that can really be measured, it's just something like, I've watched every start of his, God help me, is that he gets in his own head a lot. So when that breaking ball is, his fastball is always there. His fastball can touch 97, 98. The guy can dial it up. When his when his slider and his other breaking stuff are not there, he gets really mad at himself. He frustrates himself and then tries to overthrow it, which actually compounds the problem. So this might be one where maybe you can look at a live shot on it, but he has to prove to me that 1, he can last more than 5 innings, and 2, that he can throw a first pitch strike more than 50% of the time against any team in baseball. And then maybe I'll think about going with an over with him. Until then, not necessarily saying that it's going to be like all under all the time, but it's certainly not going to be an over. I'm sorry. I can't trust the guy. And this has been against some decently high K teams as well. Like with the Cubs, the Braves have had some high strikeout games. I know he played them twice in close proximity, but I can't trust him. I can't trust him.
I understand. No, I would understand why you wouldn't do that. So shout out to you, Lamont, for the question. Let's get into the review here, Doc. Like we mentioned, a short card, but it's still a good show nonetheless. Plenty of plays for the boy here. So let's get right into it. I'll go first here, Doc. Full season record, 63, 89, and 17, down 30 units. Let's fucking climb out of this, guys. May 1st.
New month, new money.
New money. That's what I'm keep telling myself. New month. You'll also see a monthly record on there as well to make myself feel better about myself. Let's go. Cubs, Nationals, over 8.5. Even money was my first play here. Reds, full game money line, plus 185, and the Astros, minus 1.5, plus 105. The additions I'll make on the card here. Cleveland, New York, full game under 8.5, minus 120. I'm also going to double up, take the Reds first 5 money line, plus 175 as well. And I'm going to be on the Red Sox and Red Sox and Blue Jays, wrong bird, over 10 at minus 105 for me. Doc, what do you want?
Yep. So shorter card for me. So I'm on the Blue Jays first 3 minus 0.5 at plus 115. That's on DraftKings. I'm on the Dodgers and Phillies first 5 over 4.5 minus 122 on FanDuel. I'm going to put 1 unit of total stake for sure. I might go the whole way on that one. And then my tout K prop, which I'll post the detailed write-up in just a little bit, would be Luke Weaver over 4.5 strikeouts, minus 120 to minus 130, minus 135. If it starts getting above that, then I would recommend you do the same thing. Just put 1 unit of total stake on it.
All right, beautiful. Good work as always, Doc.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Let's talk about your foundation as always. We're getting every day we get closer to the golf
The
tournament.
golf tournament.
Every day we get closer.
Yeah, so I actually have to I think tonight I actually got to send out some emails for some fundraising stuff. So anyways, for those that don't know, my mom passed away at age 61 in 2019 from complications from ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. And I didn't know anything about it except for that it was named after Lou Gehrig before she was diagnosed with it. And I learned more than I ever wanted to know about this brutal bitch of a disease. So our goal after she passed was we created a foundation called the Michelle Gargaro Foundation in his or in her name. And the twofold goal, one, to keep her memory alive, and two, was to raise money so that we could donate. It's a not-for-profit, to donate it to families who are caring for people who have ALS, because with ALS, you're still there, you're still mentally there, but you can't do anything for yourself because the motor neurons, which control like your body function. So like when I wave like this or wave my head back and forth, those are motor neurons doing that. The motor neurons die, so you can't do that for yourself. So you need 24/7 care. And most families have to work, they have bills, they can't afford to do that. And insurance only pays for so much of it. So what we did last year was we had hosted a memorial golf tournament in June, and there's another one this year coming up, same weekend, third Friday in June. And last year we raised about $6,700, and we donated that money to two families who were then able to pay for a caretaker to come in and take care of their loved ones. So I have my, you can probably see it right there. I have my, oops, wrong side. So I have my ALS ribbon. So the awareness colors for ALS are red, and I had this custom made. It's a metallic ribbon with the word mom on it, and I'm obviously wearing red here too for ALS awareness. So if you go to the website and even just sharing things out, there's all kinds of links to new drugs, new research for ALS. But really our goal is just to keep her name alive and help families who are in need, who were stricken with the same things that we were, because there's so much that goes into caring for somebody that has ALS and can't take care of themselves that people don't even know. And most families aren't prepared for that. So our job is to help with that. So we're on another golf tournament. We're hoping to make even more. And we have a whole bunch of other fundraising activities going on throughout the year. So thanks for letting me promote it.
No, of course, as always, you can always talk about it on this show. It's a great cause, and it's always a good time to talk to you and talk sports, Doc. Before we get out of here, like you mentioned your foundation, obviously. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, for sure. So on Twitter at SpinDocSports. I do have a free play, or typically most days I have a free play called Tout Prop. And then I give strikeout props, other plays daily for Major League Baseball for our VIP. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and hit me up and be happy to help.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thanks everyone for watching the show. We appreciate the chat. Hit the like button on your way out. Bo Jackson, Real Deal Prime, Professor Chris, RVD 420, Rocco Rogers, Johnny K, Leroy Flood, Lamb Chop, AOD. I just called myself that. That's funny. Lamb Chop, AOD. Maybe you should call change your name AOD to AOD Lamb Chop or something like that. Would be funny. Remos, Leroy Flood, Rick J, Real Deal Prime, all you guys, Carlos Garcia, shout out to him and his various plays of the day. He's on the Red Sox for the reverse cowgirl play of the day. Mark Campbell, all you guys, Nasty Nate in here as well, top set as well. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back here again. It's always a busy Tuesday. We've got Low Shack in the bag, myself, everything popping off on a Tuesday. So stick around, subscribe, hit the like button on your way out, and we'll see you guys next time for another edition. Say Hey Plays.